Hello everybody, welcome to another rapid speedrun game against Vladimir Sub-Zero. He opens up with F4. We haven't ever faced this on maybe any of our speedruns. He's a 1700 playing some type of bird. So we're just going to play principal chess. I don't have any theory or anything against this. I have no idea. Right now we're out of theory. We're playing on our own. Okay, so he wants the Fianchetto. Should we play cheeky? You guys want to see cheeky? Let's go H5. Okay, not principled, but cheeky. And now the whole idea of H5 is to undermine this as early as possible because he created a hook as early as possible, right? So we want to make it uncomfortable for him to castle and ruin his whole setup. So it's like a higher level way of trying to punish him. And now we just develop. Okay, he defends. Now if we take, and push, we're already knocking at his door. We do give up our bishop, but I'm going to just try to rip this open. It's super early. It's super cheeky and weird because it's only move 5, but I mean, this pawn is defended, right? By our queen. And that's the only piece he has developed. His king is now weaker because he made lots of weird pawn moves. And our pawn move only strengthens our rook as opposed to weakens our king. So he ignores us because now he wants to castle the other way because he knows what's coming. The drawback, he's not paying attention to his pinned rook. However, the rook is protected, so he doesn't need to pay attention. If I take and he takes, I could take his rook. He can't castle that way, but that's not like maximizing. I want him to fall for something, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. I have never played a game like this. I just want to see what happens. Now his bishop's in the corner, but it's biting into some type of granite. Super awkward. What's he thinking about? Hello? Mr. Russia. This guy's from Russia, and he clearly hasn't only moved. Does he not see bishop backwards? Is he going to resign? He's 1700. For Christ's sake, take the rook. What is happening? See, like, what in the world? This makes no sense. We don't have an advantage or anything, but this is just a fun way to start a game. We didn't have to, like, force the trade of rooks so early. We could have developed and tried to maximize it, but I just want to see, I want to try a game like this because I never really had it. But apparently he doesn't want to play. Or maybe it's time for the engine again. Like, what are you doing? I'm just going to write. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to write take the rook with the bishop. Let's see what he does. I literally just wrote take the rook with the bishop. But apparently he's dumbfounded. Or maybe again the meatloaf's ready. Time for Ma to serve dinner. It's kind of crazy though. Like, why does this happen to me in so many games? People leave the games, they troll, they don't move for some reason, like when there's an obvious recapture. It's like, what is happening? And these aren't provisional accounts. Like, this guy's 1700. He joined 3 years ago, 5,000 games. I mean, I just. Anyway, I'll just go over the start of the game in a little more detail. So there's a lot of openings that make this Fianchetto pawn move early on the king side. And when they do, there's this option. It's generally white doing it. to black. When black plays g6, it's generally white who plays a very early h4 in different systems. So there's like early h4 against the Pirits and certain Benoni setups, certain just anytime you try to fianchetto, they can launch an early h4 way earlier than you're expecting it because you created a hook. So we're trying to do that to him because if he wants to castle that way, it's extremely unsettling to have a pawn here from your opponent. I hope I wasn't muted that whole time. I'll have to check. Yeah, he goes here trying to stop it, and for example, something similar happens in the Jobava London from the white side. So basically, when black plays g6, white from the white side, they push this pawn even after the knight's developed. And then when the knight takes that pawn, they actually sack the rook for the knight and rip open the king cover and then try to take that pawn back, let's say with the queen with check. And so it's a rook sack or an exchange sack, but you get great compensation. In the specific lines I'm thinking about, you're almost winning. So we're just trying to borrow that knowledge. For example, if we already had an e6, then we play this, he takes, I'm definitely 100% taking that knight. He's taking it, and that's checkmate. It makes use of the same squares as the two-move checkmate, the fool's mate. Now, I moved my bishop, but in hindsight, there's nothing wrong with this because you can take and try to push, but in hindsight, I kind of like the checkmate idea I was looking at with e6 and just immediately playing h4. I don't actually know what the engine wants, especially when you play weird stuff like this. So we go here, which is an okay move. We take, he takes, and now we probably should develop like e6 again, opening, defending our pawn with a pawn, opening up our dark square bishop, and more importantly, again, opening the queen so we can push. Now in that version, he's not going to actually take and help you out. So it's weirder. I have no idea where this guy disappeared. That's ridiculous. I think he thinks he lost the game because he didn't see the bishop recapture, assumed he was losing, started to troll and let his clock run down, right? Because in his mind, he thinks he blundered a rook. That's my best guess. So we push. It's a little premature. You don't have to. I mean, you could just develop your knight. That's super reasonable. You could play e6. Both of those moves are excellent. We try to be cheeky on purpose, but just for this one game, we're doing something a little weirder. And then we take. It's a little early to take. I mean, since you put two pawns here, he just weakened these squares permanently and pretty badly. So you can hop a knight in here just looking at these nice squares, play e6, c5, knight bd7. You have a great position, and you can keep this in your pocket for the right time. I purposely decided to try it way earlier than I normally would just to see what happens, because I thought it might be interesting to see his bishop retreat in the corner and stare at this pawn, right? So he can't successfully break this pawn. I mean, if he does, it's going to take a long time, right? Because he'll have one attacker. The c pawn will be 2. The knight potentially could be 3. Maybe a queen on b3 could be 4. But we'll have an easy pawn support with 2 different pawns. So it's going to be super hard to break down. And that doesn't even include the fact that we can also protect it with pieces. But once you have these 2 pawns protecting it, you're going to need pawns of your own. Like pieces are not good unless you're going to sack a piece. So you would need the c pawn and the e pawn. That's asking for a lot considering he already committed these to dark. So we would have a super stable d5 point. We would create the semi-Slav pawn structure because we no longer have a light square bishop. So this pawn, each pawn acts as a replacement mini light square bishop, right? Looking, but it just doesn't reach far like a bishop. That's why they're mini bishops. And so you lose your light square bishop, but you replace it with lots of mini ones to cover the light square complex. And I thought that would be a really interesting game. But apparently this guy, I'm pretty sure he thinks he just lost the game and is trolling because he's too dumb to realize he can capture. If you have a better guess as to what happened right now, type it in the comments. If you don't think this guy's just the biggest blind loser in the world, tell me you have a better guess than that. Because he didn't go offline. He's still online. I even said take the rook with the bishop, and then I asked him if he was okay. No response. No response. So since we have 30 seconds and I already went over the game, we don't need to go over the game. I think I mentioned in another video, but I'm thinking about making a video of piece values in a more interesting way than like 1, 3, 5, 9, which is somewhat arbitrary, and people don't even know where those numbers come from. They never question if they're correct or not. They just take them at their word. You shouldn't take anyone at their word in life. If you don't know it in your personal experience, you don't know it at all. So he gives up, and I'm just going to click his profile and report him. Stalling, sent, block. Cool. I'll see you guys in the next speedrun game when we face more mentally unstable opponents. Goodbye.